The latest. Thank you for love and support. I appreciate you all. Joshua Maponga message to 11 African countries. According to him, he wants to meet them and have a word with them, educate them, so that what we are seeing happening in DR Congo will come to an end. According to him, ever since the white man came and grouped us and said, you are this country, named us after grouping us, and he didn't just stop there. He then designed some colors and gave it to us and said, you see, you are represented by these colors. If anybody isn't in this group of yours, that person isn't one of you. So this has been the narrative that the African is working with, and we have tend to fight among ourselves instead of protecting and loving ourselves. So they need to go and sit with him so that he will tell them and let them understand that we are one people. We cannot be divided by the ideologies of the white person. And as long as we are all in the same skin, we were one people until they came in contact with us. And when they left us, the division has continued till this day. And we are doing all this in order to protect the white man's interests and the selfish interests of ourselves because of what we are getting out of it. And that's the Congo conflict need not to escalate. It need not to spread to other African countries. That we cannot have Romanians in Congo, mercenaries, fighting our Congolese brothers and sisters. And we will not tend to fight the South Africans. He wants to educate these people. From there, he will take them to the river Nile for them to clean themselves because of what they have put on themselves.
I want to call a meeting. I want to call a meeting for Kagame. I want to call a meeting for Hakainde. I want to call a meeting for Jodo Lorenzo. I want to call a meeting for Dennis Sassou Nguyeso. I want to call a meeting for Mwalimu himself, Museveni. I want to call a meeting for Sululu Hassan to say, guys, before it is forever too late, Tanzania, we need to come around together. I want to meet you up at Mount Rwenzori for a reflection meeting, a serious reflection meeting. And after I'm done with you on the mountain of Rwenzori, I want to take all of you, all 9 of you, 9 presidents, I want to take all of you to the river in the Nile, personally, and I will help you to clean up your hands of the blood that is dripping in your fingers. And while you're on that, on the 9 presidents, I think number 10 must be Ramaphosa, and number 11 must be Honorable Emerson Mnangagwa, because Zimbabwe was also in Congo earlier on and they did some damage there. But in one way or the other, we cannot run away from the fact that the blood of our own brothers and sisters is found in our hands. And it is important now than ever before that we need to change our marching orders. We need to change our style of governance. We need to change our political strategies away from guns and liberations and shooting bombs. We need a different kind of soldiers beyond 2025. We need economic revolutionaries who will be looking for things that bind us together more than things that separate us. We'll be looking for blood that connects us more than flags that separate us. We need a new kind of leadership that is respect for each other rather than killing each other. And I'm not sparing even my own country of Zimbabwe under the leadership of Honorable Emerson Mnangagwa, and I address him even as the chairman of the SADC region. That negligence and silence while the war is happening in Congo cannot be a blessing. It's high time that we as Africans, we begin to look for our African solutions. And those solutions are found in conversations, in understanding. How did we end up with so many different flags? And we fail to see each other as Africans. Because the white man has told us that once you hold a flag that is different from another country, it means that you are a better person than the other person. This only happens in witchcraft, that a brother will forget a brother. I want to call a meeting at Mount Rwenzori with the 11 presidents: Angola, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, Republic of Congo, Congo Brazzaville herself, Tanzania, Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa. We need to start having a conversation. And after I'm done with you on Mount Rwenzori, I want you for a big wash away your wickedness and your sins in the great river Nile, and clean up the blood that is in your hands, and come up with a unified voice of where Africa must go. We lack and we miss you as leadership to begin to show us a path that will champion Africa towards the future that we need and the future that we want. Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, the Sahel countries are leading the pack. We need a new conversation in the south. Congo gives us an opportunity to start that conversation. I'm not scared of any one of you. I'm not scared of any one of you. The time for business has started. And as such, I hope when all of you, I know you will listen to this message, when all of you listen to this message, you will take it seriously and will implement it. You will protect yourself and protect your children. If you continue being greedy the way you are going to leave your children in misery and die with gravel in your teeth. Take advice. Make peace when you can still make peace. Time for war is coming. But the war I will call upon is not a war with each other. It is a war with the enemy. When brothers fight to death, enemies will always eat the spoils. I think I am ready for you, my honorable Africans. I am what you are waiting for. And you are what I am waiting for. Let's stop waiting. Let's meet. Well, hello one and hello all. Welcome one more time here on your favorite channel, Farmers of Thought, where we're discussing African politics, African science, African medicine, African culture, fashion, indigenous medicines, governance, education, and everything else between. The whole idea is to get African people talking about their African problems and seeking for those critical African solutions. Hello one and hello all. My trip from Burkina Faso was concluded yesterday, and I'm back in Harare, and we had a wonderful time there, looking at what Captain Ibrahim Traore is doing. Wonderful work. The revolution on the continent is real, and those who are taking their business seriously of transforming their countries, building new narratives, are making inroads, serious inroads in terms of development itself. And quite exciting to see that the program in Burkina Faso is running with military precision. One take home that I found in Burkina Faso is success. I've always known this, but it was made more clear with my visit into Burkina Faso, that if a country wants to be successful, we should learn to reduce the distance between our planning and our doing, the things that we plan and the things that we do. So the government in Burkina Faso is running for the past 2 years and no break. They are just working like horses, and they've done a beautiful agricultural project, sewing and making of cloth. It's on steroids. Now we'll have a chance of showing you some of the clothes that I picked up in Burkina Faso, the food production, now electric car production also, and quite a fascinating trip. I got some souvenirs. I think I'll do a program next week, but I think I ate something on the Ethiopian Airways on my way back, and my tummy is giving me wahala. It's giving me problems. I had a chance also of passing by Ethiopia and refreshed some Amharic language in Damnemeshesh, Danadra, Yene Konjo, Batam Wadishalo, Amarinya Atanagiralo. Thank you very much. It was quite nice. I remember some few friends that I had at university, and beautiful, wonderful people like Amde Zudalem, Skinre Behane, Berke Kidane, Ifa Wakwaya, the other guy, Amahalia, something like that, Dr. Maritu, beautiful people from Ethiopia. It was nice to pass by Ethiopia. I also got some few things from Ethiopia, but while we were there, the events of DRC Congo came to our attention, and I wish just for this afternoon to take a few moments and walk us through the issues prior to colonization, as we are moving actually into the new dispensation. I wish I had all the flags in my hands for the countries that are directly affected by this disaster that is now happening. All this multiplicity of flags that I have in my hands, their involvement in the conflict that is taking place in Congo. Prior to colonization, we did not have these flags that you see that I'm holding in my hands here. The land of Congo has been the bone of contention. For those of you who have done history, what you now call the Berlin Conference can also be called the Congo Conference. You call it the Congo Conference for the biggest prize to be won during the Berlin Conference was Congo. And Belgium and King Leopold, they won the trophy to have Congo to themselves. And the Germans went down to Namibia, the Portuguese went to Mozambique, and the British came to Rhodesia. The Italians tried their luck in Ethiopia, and the British also made their way to Nigeria, and the French made their way to the Sahel region, into Rwanda, into Burundi, and parts of Congo also, they were there, and Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Cameroon, and some of the countries up in the north, Chad, to result in now what we call the Francophones and the Anglo-Saxons. The country of Congo is surrounded by 9 illegitimate countries. The country of Congo is surrounded by 9 illegitimate countries. I will explain why I call the countries illegitimate. Because there's no way in our politicking as Africans can we come around as scholars and argue that the Berlin Conference was wrong. And we condemn the Berlin Conference with the strongest terms possible for its disrespect and its vile nature of taking a pencil and drawing lines across people's homesteads, people's farms, people's tribes and nations, and demarcate those countries, provinces, lands into now what has come up to be called countries. The land of Africa is one big mass, one huge mass of land, from Cape to Cairo, from Madagascar to Senegal, from the south to the north, from the east to the west, the Indian and the Atlantic Ocean. But during the Berlin Conference, they sat down and they divided Africa into various colonies. Colonies simply meaning that the colonizers that I've mentioned above, each one of them took a bit of the land, if not all of the land, and created these colonies, which have now grown to become countries. So I call the countries of Africa illegitimate, all of them illegitimate countries, which are backed up by illegitimate governments. And I want us to have an academic conversation. So there's no need for emotions, especially from the people from this flag. There's no need for emotions. It's a class time. Let's do some learning. Just relax a little bit and let us have a good conversation. Oh, Zimbabwe, of course. Zimbabwe. I cannot miss Zimbabwe is right here. Zimbabwe is right here. Lesotho is right here. Botswana, I think it's right here. Well, a couple of you guys, I try to, every time I visit a country, I try to get a flag so that while I am doing my conversations here, all of you can feel represented. They're not yet fully complete, so a few more countries still missing. There we go. So all these flags that you see that I hold in my hand, they are illegitimate flags. Illegitimate flags. No matter how sentimental we want to become about these pieces of cloth, their genesis and their maintenance has very little to do with our African continent. The breaking away of the Berlin Conference, which resulted in all these flags, including those that are not here, resulted in countries. Now, you as a good scholar, how can you come around and say the Berlin Conference was wrong, and yet you want to legitimize the countries that were created by the Berlin Conference? When you'll appreciate what I'm saying as I go and as I conclude my conversation for this afternoon. If the Berlin Conference was wrong, in principle, in action, it means that the aftermath of the Berlin Conference cannot be righteous. It was wrong that countries were demarcated along economic colonial boundaries, not along cultural and tribal divisions. In other words, when they were drawing and cutting Africa into pieces, they did not consider which tribe ended where, which language ended where, which nation ended up where. The vendors that are in South Africa, the vendors that are in Zimbabwe, they need passports to visit each other. The Tsongas that are in Zimbabwe, the Tsongas that are in Mozambique, they need passports to visit each other. The Tswanas that are in Zimbabwe, the Tswanas that are in Botswana, the Tswanas that are in South Africa, they need passports to visit each other. The Roses that are in Zimbabwe, the Lozis that are in Zambia, and the Pedis that are in South Africa, they need passports to visit each other. But these are all one nation. So the Limpopo River cannot be used as a boundary between Zimbabwe and South Africa, because you find cousins and uncles and relatives living across both sides of the river. Now you need to understand that for you to be able to apply your mind to what is happening in Congo. Now Congo, very uniquely, is surrounded by 9 countries. Congo is surrounded by 9 countries. There is Rwanda on the eastern side. There's Burundi. There is Central Africa. There is Republic of Congo. There is Uganda. There is Zambia. There is Angola. And all these countries, 9 of them that surround Congo, have people, have tribes that belong to these countries as they also belong to Congo. In other words, there are tribes that are in Zambia, the Lozis and some of the Ngunis, that are actually attached directly into Congo. There are the Hutus and the Tutsis that you would find in Rwanda, that are found in Rwanda, and they are also found in Congo. In Burundi, in Uganda, the Bankoles are found in Congo, as they are also found in Congo. The Zinde tribes, you can go on to name the Changa tribes, and most also the Basoka tribes, and many more, the Twa tribes, the Batwa, as you also find them in the southern region, Abantwana, Batwa, that Twa sound, which is actually a root word for some of the southern clans here, including the Khois and the Sangs, Batwa, Bantwana, Abantu. And when you come to the Hutus and the Tutsis, the Hutu, that is what we call Wunu, Wutu, Ubuntu, Butu, Hutu, Utu, the humanness of the African. And the Tutsis could be actually, the word would find its way into the Lozis, into the Roses, the Lozis, the Tutsis, and these are all but one African nation, which was de-enfranchised and divided by the Berlin Conference. Now, having said, so along all the borders of Congo, where all these various quote-unquote provinces, which now call themselves countries, be it the Rwandans, be it the Burundians, be it the Ugandans, be it the Angola, be it the Zambians, be it the Republic of Congo, and all these nations that surround Congo, they cannot claim that they are not related to Congo, because what is in Congo is also in their own country. But look, due to the Berlin Conference and the division that took place during the Berlin Conference, and lines were drawn between the Hutus and the Tutsis that are in Rwanda, and the Hutu and the Tutsis that are in Congo, Zaire. The Hutu and the Tutsis that are in Burundi, and the Twa people that are found on both sides, north, east, and south of Congo. The governments of these surrounding countries, looking at the vulnerability of Congo due to war, justified they are under the colonial regimes to protect their border cities from the insurgencies and wars that were taking place in Congo. They placed their military barracks within their own borders to protect their borders from illegal immigration, number one. One wonders from who? The Hutus that are in Congo are running into the Hutus that are in Rwanda. And the Hutus that are in Rwanda would kill the Hutus that are from Congo because they have a different passports. The Tutsis would kill the other Tutsis because they have a different passport.
Africans, we are one people, regardless of what we are told. We are calling for unity among ourselves every blessed day. You are the leaders that need to lead us and bring the unity among us. But it's like these people are rather bringing the division. We are not seeing the unity that you are preaching when you go for your ECOWAS meetings, when you go for your African Union meetings. It has always been the same story that the oppressor always gives to us every blessed day. Because if you go and sit there, talk, unite only at the meeting, and when you are out there you need to put these things that you've said into practice and you are not doing it, then it means there's not even the need for you to go and meet as Africans, because the meetings that you always have do not have any benefit to us. We are not getting anything out of it. Why is it that till date we are still grouped like the way the oppressor grouped us decades ago? We still do not see that my brother from this place is my brother as long as the person is in the dark skin. We can't be identified by the colors that these people gave to us. That's their way of dividing us. That's their systems that they've kept in place to make you and I to still submit to them. You are calling for African freedom, African unity, yet you yourselves that are meeting and talking about these things are not doing anything for you to be set free. Because according to reports, it's because of what you are getting out of these people. That's why you don't want the unity that we want in Africa. Must it always be what you want? Now, Paul Kagame will tell you to put your selfish interests aside and unite. But we don't see that unity after the speech that you give to us. We the youth, we want to see ourselves as one people. We don't want you to keep dividing us. Those in Congo also are Africans, regardless of what you see them as leaders. We don't see Congolese by the colors that the oppressor gave to us. It's high time we do away with these colors. We can't always have people who will always sit down and talk, and after that, they don't back their words with actions. Look at the lives that are being lost in Congo. Are they not also Africans? Why is it that the mercenaries that are there, nothing is happening to them? The different color, like Maponga said that we need to team up and fight against, is the one that we have left, and we are now fighting among ourselves. We are looking for leaders who will be leaders in Africa that will reunite Africa, that will do away with the borders. These things are things that the person who took your freedom away from you kept in place to keep getting what he or she wants. And now we are making it easy. Before we heard that they came with guns and we didn't have them. Now are they still using guns on us? How can you have all the natural resources, yet you give the natural resources out for ink and paper? African Union will wait for other people to come and be mediating in Africa. Have you ever seen European Union having issues and you African leaders are invited to go and mediate? So why will we allow our affairs to be mediated by oppressors? Outsiders have to come into Africa to talk about African issues. Yes, we have African Union. So what's the essence of that union? What's the essence of the organization? You said you are there for peace and security, yet we are not seeing that happen in DR Congo. All we hear is speech. UN, you go and give a speech. African Union, powerful speech. China Summit, the same thing. Everywhere the African leader will go, will always give a speech. And when they move from there, that ends it. We'll start crying again. Every blessed day from the same circle. Now the president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, is telling you that it's high time you move away from that kind of thing. Maybe you need one of you to tell you. You are not aware of what is happening. So now, John Dramani Mahama is telling you that African leaders, enough of the speech, enough of everything from the West. We have to come together as a people and champion the affairs of the continent. Because the division is not helping us. That is what is helping them, rather, to be able to do whatsoever that they want in Africa. Congolese lives matter. Free Congo now. And African Union, it is high time you rise up and talk. Not only talk, but bring peace and an end to all that is happening in DR Congo. If truly you have formed the organization for the interest and the purpose of Africa unity. Nelson Mandela, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and all the freedom fighters didn't want to unite in order to be against the people, but they were uniting to stand firm and defend the people. The freedom that they rose to sacrifice their lives for was for the people and not themselves. If they so loved their lives, I don't think today we'll still have the narrative that we are free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united will stand forever and ever. So that's the latest around the world, in Africa, and in Zimbabwe.